In today's video, we're going to be breaking down the upcoming pattern where we do have multiple storms we're going to be watching over the next 10 to 15 days in a much colder pattern. Highly unusual as we work our way into June. Very similar to last year, which featured a lot of 60s and 70s in June, unfortunately. So back to back, very obscure, very cold compared to normal Junes are possible now. So let's just dive into things. Let's move towards tomorrow afternoon. And we do see that we are not dealing with any of that cold weather yet. We actually see a lot of storminess across the central states. Don't know why that's blue. Let's change that here. So across the central states, seeing plenty of thunderstorms here from the upper Midwest back down through portions of the plains and Midwest and south central states as well. We are seeing plentiful amounts of thunderstorm activity here across these middle portions. By the time we reach Saturday on June 1st, what we see here is plenty of thunderstorms now a little bit further east, mostly for the Great Lakes and upper Midwest, Midwest and Ohio Valley, and then down through kind of the deep south central states. So we're seeing Texas through Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama there across the south central states. Sunday on June 2nd, what we're seeing here is again these kind of central states seeing these thunderstorms, and now we have some low pressure to work with here by that Sunday time frame. So 997 here over Nebraska, Colorado, or Wyoming there. It's right on the corner of all of those. And 1004 here for south central Canada. This is leading towards a lot of instability for a lot of these Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi. We also have the Gulf kind of influence here from the south, so definitely a whole lot going on. We do see four portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Ohio Valley, as well as some of the Northeast. We do have some thunderstorms present down here as well, so multiple different states dealing with this at this point. Monday here on June 3rd, what we see is again 1,000 millibar right here over portions of Canada. And what we're seeing is overall these thunderstorms on the move eastward, so kind of Midwest areas, and then deeper south, seeing the heart of this activity, I would say. There is some isolated thunderstorm instances up and down the East Coast, which as we move further and further into the summer, this is going to be a much more common occurrence. We do see a lot of storms moving onshore to the northwest. 995 here over Alberta, and what we're seeing is some snowfall for the Cascades, some here for the Canadian Rockies, but very minimal amounts. Mostly heavy rainfall throughout these northwest regions, as that's a pretty strong summertime low, 995, as by June 3rd we will be in meteorological summer, believe it or not. So Tuesday here on June 4th, getting a little bit further in, we do see that this low is on the move. It's probably transferred a lot of that energy because that's quick to get over there, but 993 over northeastern North Dakota, right here, underlining that. We do have a 996 over the panhandle of Texas, and 1,003 here over central Illinois. All of these are kind of working in tandem to create a lot of thunderstorms throughout the north central and a lot of the Ohio Valley and Plain states, as well as the Great Lakes. We're seeing, again, another day of very plentiful amounts of thunderstorms here. And the East Coast, some isolated thunderstorms are again present. This looks to be a very common occurrence, and obviously as we reach the summertime heat, the summertime humidity, this should become very common here as we move forward, so be on the lookout for that. Here by Wednesday on June 5th, what we're seeing is a very strong 990 millibar over north Minnesota here, and we see a strong signal of a cold front, probably a warm front somewhere in here, and likely severe weather along this frontal boundary if it does occur this way. So we will be watching here Wednesday on the 5th for this type of activity. Again, this corridor here would be the main area to watch for this, and this is a very strong low, so this is an amped up system. I would say the main area would be in here, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, maybe Ohio, Kentucky, and Missouri as well. This would be my primary corridor to watch there on Wednesday the 5th for that severe weather potential. And this is an important date because this is when we see the warm air surging for the west, which is really allowing for a lot of this cooler air to pour in here over top. And this is going to be the beginning of that colder pattern as we move forward. Here's Thursday on the 6th, and we see this cold front is on the move, now headed eastward. Still very strong, so some severe weather potential will be present here from the deeper south up all the way into the mid-Atlantic and northeast there. That'll all be possible. Plenty of low pressure in the east to work with. And then by Friday afternoon on the 7th here, what we see is mid-Atlantic, northeast, basically is where that primary area of cold front boundary is going to be, with some potential severe weather. Now, this is nearly 10 days out, so there is some wiggle room here. I would definitely say take it with a grain of salt, as timing could especially be very different. So that's something to watch for, obviously. We see this warm push here in the west is getting more extreme, and really this cold air in the east is matching that energy for the most part, as we have a very strong ridge out west, and now a pretty significant trough here in the east. We'll see a little bit more of that later on where we look at the temperature anomalies, and by Saturday that is fully set in. We do see plenty of showers and thunderstorms here within that trough, as we have a lot of low pressure to work with. This is oftentimes the case. 997 here near the Hudson Bay, 1004 here over southern New England, and these are really working in tandem here to create a lot of thunderstorm instability. As we take a look at the total precipitation here, we see that the Northwest is seeing quite a bit from that 1 or 2 storms that they see. The central states, they get multiple days of thunderstorms, obviously, throughout the upcoming pattern. Here, especially the Dakotas, Minnesota, down through your classic plains states, even the Midwest here as well, and into the Ohio Valley, and then up into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast as well. We're seeing these reds pop up for all of these different areas, and that's going to be approximately 2 to 5 inches of precipitation, so a whole lot for these areas over the next 10 days. For the total snowfall, obviously seeing a much receded amount. The Cascades looking at about an inch, up to maybe 6+ here for the very high elevation areas. The Rockies, we're looking at maybe a dusting, if anything, with the exception here of areas in southern Montana there, seeing maybe close to, again, that 6 to 10 inch mark for a singular area of mountain ranges there in south Montana. But outside of that, just maybe a dusting, if any, maybe a couple of inches for these areas. Now, the temperature pattern, as we've talked about, spoiler alert, let's move into right now. This afternoon, a little bit cooler in the east, but what we're dealing with is colder out west as well. So we're not able to get any deep cold here in the east. It's really just kind of a near normal cold, within a few degrees of normal, I would say. As we move forward, we do get kind of a warmer patch here, especially Monday the 3rd, Tuesday the 4th, Wednesday the 6th here. But then here's Thursday the 6th into Friday the 7th, better yet. And we see this very cold air mass here. And this is significant. I don't want to downplay this. Blues are only about 1 to 10 degrees below normal. This is what we call kind of the near normal, below normal temperatures. The greens is 10 to 15 degrees below typical. So, if your average is 80, you're looking at 65 to 70 maybe. So very significant. But within these blues, within the greens, this is where we get really serious. 15 to 25 degrees below normal. So even more significant. And then the magentas in here is going to be 25 degrees or more below normal. So if your average temperature was 100 degrees, you would be at 75 degrees. Think about that. That's very significant, I feel like, especially for the summer months here. So this is going to be a pretty significant cool down, and it's mostly due in part to this warm air mass out west. We call this a positive PNA, and this allows for the cold air to really just dive eastward here in a very significant way, and that's what we see here. Now, it doesn't stay that significant for the most part, but it does stay centered over the east all the way until the 14th of June here. We still see relatively significant cold air in the east and a very healthy warm air mass out west that is really keeping things in place here, unfortunately, because I really want the warm weather at this point. Let's take a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook here. And if you are anywhere in the lighter greens, we have 3 of them here, you are under a general thunderstorm risk. That means that there should be no severe weather. There could be, so definitely heed every watch, warning, and advisory. But general thunderstorms are certainly possible here throughout these lighter green areas. Now, the darker greens for your central states, that is our level 1 marginal risk area, and that is where we expect isolated severe weather to be possible. Your yellow area there across the south central states is going to be your level 2 slight risk, where we expect scattered about severe weather. And then the orange for portions of Texas is going to be your level 3 enhanced risk of severe weather, where we expect more widespread severe weather to be possible. And again, all of these are for today on Thursday, May 30th. For tomorrow on Friday, May 31st, we have 2 general thunderstorm risk areas once again, a marginal risk down there once again, and a slight risk once again for Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana once again. but no enhanced risk. I will say this level 2 slight risk area is rather large, and sometimes when they're large like that, we do get an enhanced risk upgrade in the middle, I feel like, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen. So definitely be on the lookout. Not that it even really changes what's going to happen. These are serious regardless. You know, we have a chance of severe weather, and it should be taken that way. Whether it's a dark green, whether it's a light green, dark green or yellow or orange, you should always be watching for those warnings and advisories, because sometimes the unexpected happens. I really want to encourage you guys to always be paying attention. Our day 3 outlook, which will be for Saturday on June 1st, our first day of meteorological summer, will feature 2 general thunderstorm risk areas once again. A darker green area for marginal risk, and then we have our level 2 slight risk here for some of the plains like Nebraska, eastern Colorado, and Kansas there, where we have a scattered out risk of severe weather. We do have a day, let's see, what day is it going to be? Day 4 extended day outlook here for Sunday on June 2nd, where we do expect at least a slight risk here for some of the Dakotas, Minnesota, Iowa, Nebraska, and a little bit of Wisconsin there as well. Again, we will likely see a marginal risk outside of this for other areas and even general thunderstorm risk areas. So could be another serious day on Sunday, June 2nd. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.